So now we're going to start the cerebrum. See, in cerebrum, we're going to discuss the sulcus and gyrus in the cerebrum. So cerebrum is the highest area for any function. So we're going to remember the function of each gyrus and the number for the each gyrus and location of each gyrus. So that is what we're going to discuss. So questions will be mainly from the gyrus only. Sulcus, they're not asking much. For the completion sake, yes, we see the sulcus also, don't worry. Now, first we're going to write sulcus. Now, in the sulcus, first one, limiting sulcus. Now, limiting sulcus, which divide the two different functional areas. Limiting sulcus, which divide the two different functional areas. Which divide the two different functional areas. Okay, that's a limiting sulcus. Example, central sulcus. Now, central sulcus, which divide the primary sensory area and the primary motor area. Primary sensory and primary motor area. So, primary motor area is a precentral gyrus, which is precentral gyrus, and primary sensory area is the postcentral gyrus. Postcentral gyrus. Okay, so central sulcus of Rolando divide the primary sensory area and the primary motor area. That is why the central sulcus is called a limiting sulcus. Okay, next one, operculated sulcus. Next one, operculated sulcus. See, operculated sulcus, it is like central sulcus. It is like central sulcus, which divide the two different functional areas. It is like a central sulcus, which divide the two different functional areas. But the difference is the lip of the sulcus contains the third area. The lip of the sulcus, which contains the third area, another area, contains the third area. The example for operculated sulcus is lunate sulcus. Lunate sulcus, which divide the area number 17 and 19. And the lip of the lunate sulcus contains area number 18. The lip of the sulcus, which contain area number 18. Okay, that is a lunate sulcus. Next, third sulcus, axial sulcus. Axial sulcus. See, axial sulcus, which is exactly opposite to the limiting sulcus. See, limiting sulcus is formed between the two different functional areas. Axial sulcus is formed in the homogeneous area. Axial sulcus, which is formed in the homogeneous area. Formed in the homogeneous area. Example, the posterior part of calcarine sulcus. See the diagram? Now, this is a calcarine sulcus. The posterior part of calcarine sulcus. It is formed in the visual cortex. Posterior part of calcarine sulcus. Example for axial sulcus. Okay. Next one, complete sulcus. Last subtype, complete sulcus. Complete sulcus. Now, complete sulcus, these are very deep sulcus. So, deep means deep to cerebrum, deep in the cerebrum, we have the ventricles, lateral ventricle. So, these sulcus are very deep. So, what they do? They give impression to ventricles. So, complete sulcus are very deep. They give impression to the lateral ventricle. Impression to the lateral ventricle. Okay. Again, example, anterior part of calcarine sulcus. Anterior part of calcarine sulcus and collateral sulcus. Anterior part of calcarine sulcus forms calcar avis and collateral sulcus form collateral eminence. Okay, they give impression to the lateral ventricle. That's all. These are the four types of sulcus and their examples. They're asking mainly, they will ask you the examples only. Okay, that's all. Now, next, we're going to start the discussion about the gyrus. Okay. Now, for gyrus, we're going to draw the diagram. We're going to draw the lateral view of the cerebrum It is the lateral view of the cerebrum. So now this is central sulcus. This is the central sulcus of Rolando. So this is anterior and this is posterior, and this is the lateral view of the brain. Lateral view of the cerebrum. Okay. So the front side, we have frontal lobe. Back side, posterior side, occipital lobe. This is parietal lobe, and this is temporal lobe. Right. And this is central sulcus. This red line is the central sulcus. Now area just in front of central sulcus, I am talking about this area, the gyrus we have. The area, the gyrus just in front of central sulcus is called precentral gyrus. Precentral gyrus. So what is the function of precentral gyrus? The precentral gyrus, it is a primary motor area, and area number, Broadband number 4, functional number 4, precentral gyrus, primary motor area. Now in the frontal lobe, we have 2 sulcus. So 2 sulcus divide the frontal lobe into 3 gyrus. So we have 2 sulcus. So 2 sulcus divide the frontal lobe into 3 gyrus. Now this is superior frontal lobe, this is middle frontal lobe, and this is inferior frontal lobe. Superior, middle, and inferior frontal gyrus. Now superior frontal gyrus, area number 6. Middle frontal gyrus, area number 8. Inferior frontal gyrus, area number 44, 45. Superior frontal gyrus, that is the premotor area. Function, premotor area. Now what is the difference between primary motor area and the premotor area? See, primary motor area will do the movement. Premotor area plan the movement. That is the main difference. Okay. Right. Now middle frontal gyrus, area number 8, that is frontal eye field. Frontal eye field. Okay. Inferior frontal gyrus, that is the Broca's area or motor area for speech. Inferior frontal gyrus is the Broca's area or motor area for speech. Area number 44, 45. So inferior frontal gyrus, please remember the number 44, 45. Function, motor area for speech or Broca's area for speech. Okay. Right. That's all about the frontal lobe. Now come to the postcentral gyrus. So central sulcus, precentral gyrus, area number 4, primary motor area, just behind the central sulcus. Postcentral gyrus. Postcentral gyrus. I am talking about this area. Now postcentral gyrus, area number 3, 1, 2. There is a primary sensory area. Okay. So postcentral gyrus, I will erase this. So this is postcentral gyrus. That is primary sensory area. Primary sensory area. Now in the parietal lobe, we have only 1 sulcus. So the 1 sulcus divide the parietal lobe into 2 gyrus. So we have only 1 sulcus. So this is superior parietal lobule. That is superior parietal lobule. And this is inferior parietal lobule. So superior parietal lobule number 5 and 7, that is sensory association area. Sensory association area. Okay. Next, inferior parietal lobule. See, inferior parietal lobule, we don't have any number for this. Okay. And the function is hand-eye coordination. Hand-eye coordination is done by inferior parietal lobule. Superior parietal lobule number 5 and 7, sensory association area. Inferior parietal lobule, we don't have a number. They didn't give any number for this gyrus. Okay, but we know the function of this inferior parietal lobule function, hand-eye coordination. 2 times they gave this question. First time 2018 DNB exam we got this question. They gave the question specifically, hand-eye coordination is done by, the answer was very specific, inferior parietal lobule. The same question was given in 2021 INACT exam. There they gave the question, hand-eye coordination is a function of frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, occipital lobe. Likewise, they gave the question. Answer parietal lobe. Okay. So 2 times we got this question about the hand-eye coordination. Inferior parietal lobule. Right. Next, visual cortex. So visual cortex, the primary visual area, occipital cortex is our visual cortex. The primary visual area, area number 17, and the visual association area, area number 18 and 19. Okay, right. Now this is the temporal lobe. Again, temporal lobe, we have 2 sulcus and 3 gyrus. 2 sulcus and 3 gyrus. Now this is superior temporal gyrus. Superior temporal gyrus. Now this is A and this is P. So what is A and P? A is anterior part of superior temporal gyrus. A is anterior part of superior temporal gyrus. That is the auditory area. Area number 41, 42. That is the auditory area. P is our posterior part of superior temporal gyrus, and that is the sensory area for speech, and that is the vernix area. That is Wernicke's area for speech, the sensory area for speech. Area number 22. Okay, so superior temporal gyrus, anterior part is auditory area, area number 41, 42. Posterior part of superior temporal gyrus is the sensory area for speech, the vernix area for speech, area number 22. Okay, right. Now see the diagram and then we proceed. Now this is the diagram we have drawn. This is the precentral gyrus and central sulcus. So precentral gyrus, we know the number, area number 4, that is a primary motor area. Now in the frontal lobe, we have superior frontal gyrus, middle frontal gyrus, inferior frontal gyrus. Superior frontal gyrus, area number 6, middle frontal gyrus, area number 8, inferior frontal gyrus, Broca's area for speech, area number 44, 45. Superior frontal gyrus, premotor area, middle frontal gyrus, frontal eye field, inferior frontal gyrus, Broca's area, motor area for speech. Now postcentral gyrus, area number 312, primary sensory area, and the superior parietal lobule, area number 5 and 7, sensory association area. Inferior parietal lobule, we don't have any specific number, but we know the function. Function is hand-eye coordination. Okay, right. And superior temporal gyrus, this is A and this is P. So A is our auditory area and P is our vernix area. Okay, right. Now the same thing, we are seeing the number and the function we are seeing. Now one important applied, what will happen if there is a lesion to the dominant parietal lobe? So lesion in the dominant parietal lobe, which result in one syndrome called Gerstmann syndrome. Now the syndrome is characterized by the 4 specific features. What are those? Patient have agraphia. Agraphia means inability to write. Acalculia, the loss of ability to do the simple mathematics. Finger agnosia, patient's inability to identify one's own finger. And the patient inability to make a distinction between the right and left half of the body, right and left side of the body. These are 4 cardinal features you see in the Gerstmann syndrome. Okay, right. Now see the medial view of the cerebrum. Now in the medial view of the cerebrum, just above the corpus callosum, we are seeing the cingulate gyrus. Cingulate gyrus, it is a part of the limbic system. It is a part of limbic system. See, limbic system, limbic means ring. So we have one ring of cortex in the cerebrum, and that controls the basic elements for survival. See, for any living organisms, for any species, the basic element of survival is only food and sex, and that is controlled by limbic system only. So limbic means a ring of, limbic means a ring. So we have the ring, a cortex, a ring, and that controls the basic element of survival. That is called the limbic system. Cingulate gyrus, it is a part of the limbic system. Now, what are the functions of the cingulate gyrus? Cingulate gyrus do so many functions. Now, we're going to list out certain important function only. Cingulate gyrus function, number 1, which convert the sensory input to emotions. Which convert the sensory input into emotions. Number 1. Number 2, emotional response to pain. Emotional response to pain. Emotional response to pain. Number 3, bonding with mother, maternal bonding. Bonding with mother. And regulation of aggressive behavior. Regulation of aggressive behavior. And it is the highest area for satiety. Satiety center, highest area for satiety. Just remember these functions. So these are the certain important functions of cingulate gyrus. Okay. Next, just above the cingulate gyrus, we are seeing the paracentral lobule. Paracentral lobule, here only the lower limb and perineum are represented. Lower limb and perineum are represented in the paracentral lobule. See, perineum, which contains urogenital opening and the anal opening. So urogenital opening and the anal opening are represented in paracentral lobule. Urogenital opening and the anal opening are controlled by paracentral lobule. If you control urogenital opening and the anal opening, that means we are controlling the micturition and defecation. So what is the highest center for micturition and defecation? Paracentral lobule. So paracentral lobule is the highest center for micturition and defecation. Highest center for micturition and defecation. Okay, right. And the visual cortex, we know area number 17, 18, 19. The entire visual cortex is our occipital cortex. Primary visual area 17, and the visual association area number 18 and 19. Okay, so entire occipital cortex is visual cortex. Primary area 17, visual association area 18, 19. Okay, right. Now we're going to remove the brainstem, and we are seeing parahippocampal gyrus and uncus of parahippocampal gyrus. So these two areas. So these two areas, area number 28, and their function, they are the olfactory areas, and again they are also the part of the limbic system, and they also for smell mediated sexual behavior. Smell mediated sexual behavior. Okay, olfactory area, and also the part of limbic system. So they also the part of the smell mediated sexual behavior. So parahippocampal gyrus, uncus of parahippocampal gyrus, area number 28. Okay, so that's all about the various gyrus and their functions. Now we're going to see how the body is represented in the cortex, in the cerebrum. See, 2 points to remember. The body is represented in the upside down manner, in the inverted manner. So it is called inverted homunculus. That means the head is represented in the lower area and the leg is represented in the highest area, higher area. Okay, so it is called inverted homunculus. First point. Second point, the areas of representation depend on the skill of the organ, which is not about the size of the organ. So areas of representation in the cortex is depend on the skill of the organ, not the size. Not the size. Okay, so the organ which is doing the most skillful activities represented maximum areas in the cerebrum. So please remember, the areas of representation depend on skill of the organ, not the size. So tongue is doing the most skillful activities. Your hand, your fingers doing the most skillful activities represented maximum areas in the cerebrum. Okay, right. Now, next one. So 2 points to remember. The areas are represented in the inverted manner, and the areas of representation depend on skill of the organ, not the size. So one last thing in the cerebrum, we're going to discuss the aphasias. So what is aphasia? See, aphasia is nothing but it is a language disorder involving the dominant lobe. Okay, so we're going to discuss mainly 3 aphasias only: Broca's aphasia, Wernicke's aphasia, and the conduction aphasia. Right. Now we have arcuate fasciculus. Now what this fasciculus will do, sir? Now this fasciculus will connect Broca's area and the Wernicke's area. Okay, now this area, the lateral surface of the cerebrum, is supplied by our middle cerebral artery. Middle cerebral artery. So Wernicke's area and the Broca's area are supplied by the middle cerebral artery. So Broca's aphasia, the Wernicke's aphasia are due to the lesion due to the involvement of which artery? Middle cerebral artery. Okay. So now Wernicke's area, Broca's area, they are connected by arcuate fasciculus. And why we need this connection? For repeating. For repeating, we need 3 areas to be normal. The Wernicke area should receive the word. That is the sensory area for speech. And that word will be given to Broca by the arcuate fasciculus. And the Broca will say the same word. So Broca will repeat the word. So this is for repeating. So Wernicke's area and Broca's area, they are connected by means of arcuate fasciculus. So any damage to the arcuate fasciculus, then the patient is not able to repeat. Okay. So now aphasia, I told you we're going to discuss 3 aphasias: Broca's aphasia, Wernicke's aphasia, and the conduction aphasia in 3 categories: comprehension, fluency, and repetition. Now what is comprehension? The comprehension is nothing but it is the understanding capacity of the patient. Okay, fluency, we know how he is maintaining his reply fluently or not. Repetition, you know. Now, Broca's aphasia, it is the motor aphasia. It is the motor aphasia. The comprehension is good. The patient will know, patient understand your questions. Fluency, again, he tried to give reply, but he is not able to maintain the fluency. So, he give one word answer. He will give one word reply. Okay, his speech is like the telegraphic speech. These are the clues they will give you. Okay, in the question, yes, telegraphic speech. That means he is giving reply in one word. Again, repetition. I told you for repeating any sentence, we need 3 areas to be normal. Wernicke area should be normal. Wernicke and Broca should be connected, and Broca area should be normal. Only then he can repeat. So here we have lesion in the Broca's area, so repetition is gone. So in the case of Broca's aphasia, comprehension is normal, fluency and repetition gone. Okay, right. Now, Broca's aphasia, you can see in our exam viva. See, during exam viva, no, yes, we understand the question. Comprehension is good, but we won't reply, no. So fluency, repetition is gone. Yes. So Broca's aphasia, you can see, you can encounter during our exam vivas. Next, Wernicke's aphasia. Wernicke's aphasia, Wernicke's area lesion. So it is a sensory aphasia. Here, comprehension is gone. The patient will not understand your question. But fluency, that will be good. But that will be irrelevant to your question. You may be asking his name and he may reply some other thing. Again, repetition is gone. See, in the Wernicke's aphasia, you will notice paraphasia and neologisms. Paraphasia means he used one word for the other. Instead of using the word paper, he may use the word taker. For table, he may use the word tilto, like that. So he will use one word for the other. Paraphasia. Paraphasia, it is a feature of both the conduction aphasia and Wernicke's aphasia. Neologism means he create one new word. He create one new word without any meaning. So this paraphasia neologisms are a feature of the Wernicke's aphasia. Paraphasia is also seen in conduction aphasia. Okay. Right. So in the conduction aphasia, that is due to lesion in arcuate fasciculus. It is due to lesion in arcuate fasciculus. Here Wernicke's area normal, comprehension is normal. Broca's area normal, fluency is normal, but both of them are not connected, so repetition is gone. So this is a feature of conduction aphasia. From these 3 aphasias, yes, we are getting one question for sure. The NACT exam, NEET exam, and also in the FMG exam. We're going to see the animation for the cerebrum. First, see here. Now, seeing the outer covering, this outer layer of the meninges, dura mater. So, we removed the dura mater and we are seeing the arachnoid, we removed that too. And then pia mater will be closely covering the cerebrum. Right. Now, we're going to remove the cerebrum so that you can see the dural fold. Now, that is our, yes, our falx cerebri. Okay. And just below this one, that is our tentorium cerebelli. Falx cerebri, this is tentorium cerebelli. Falx cerebri is present between the 2 cerebrum, whereas tentorium cerebelli is present between cerebrum above and the cerebellum below. Cerebellum below you are seeing there. So tentorium cerebelli and this is our, yes, falx cerebri. These are the dural folds you have to remember. Okay, these two are the dural folds, falx cerebri and tentorium cerebelli. Right, so now we're going to see the central sulcus. That is the central sulcus of Rolando. Now just in front of that we are seeing one gyrus. Now that gyrus is called precentral gyrus. Okay, and just behind that you are seeing this gyrus, that is our postcentral gyrus. Precentral and this is postcentral. Now in front of that you are seeing the frontal lobe, that is the parietal lobe, and below you are seeing the temporal lobe. Okay, now here we discuss certain important areas. Okay, right, so now gyrus, now that is our inferior frontal gyrus. Now inferior frontal gyrus, that is the motor area for speech, that is the Broca's area, inferior frontal gyrus. Now this is a temporal lobe. Now temporal lobe in the, yes, anterior side, that is the auditory area. Now in the posterior side, that is our vernix area. Vernix area is a sensory area for speech, and this is our auditory area. Okay, 41, 42 number. Vernix area number 22. I hope you know that. Now these are some important areas we are seeing in this part. Yes, that is our frontal lobe. Okay, now the part of the frontal lobe which is close to the orbit, now that is our orbital surface of the frontal lobe. Okay, the part of the cerebrum, part of the frontal lobe which is close to the eyeball and the orbit is called orbital surface of the frontal lobe. So this is very important. Yes, please note down this area. Right, so now we have seen some important areas in the cerebrum. Now we're going to rotate the cerebrum. See, we are rotating the cerebrum and we are seeing the, yes, the two cerebrum connection. Yes, it is connected by means of corpus callosum. Right, now again we are rotating. Yes, seeing the all the other angles and the borders and the surfaces of the cerebrum. Now we're going to remove one cerebrum, one side, so that you can see the cavity inside the cerebrum. See here, you are seeing the C-shaped cavity there. This entire C-shaped cavity, yes, that is our lateral ventricle. So lateral ventricle, it is a cavity present inside the cerebrum. Okay, right. So these are some animations you have to see in the cerebrum module. Okay, right. So that's all about the cerebrum. So cerebrum, very simple topic, very small topic. So you have to know the sulcus, gyrus, their function, their number, and the applied. Okay, that's all about the cerebrum.